Hi, I'm here with my friend and colleague, Marta Garcia, and we're going to talk about supporting multilingual students in classrooms. So Marta, I know this is something that you've been thinking a lot about, and in the work I'm doing, I'm in classes now supporting teachers as they work with multilingual students in the classrooms, but I also, because I work in the country, I'm in lots of different states, and I see different names. So I hear L's or ESL, and so I wonder, the first question I have is, multilingual seems to be the preferred terminology. Can you just comment a little bit about where that all comes from?
Right, and so there are lots of spaces in education where we're really considering the way we're using particular terms to identify needs of particular students, and thinking about a multilingual learner as an asset-based title that we can give to students who, being multilingual, is a real asset, rather than thinking about a deficit label, which would be this student doesn't have English and English is the preferred language and the academic language. So just changing the way we describe a particular group of students who have a particular asset, and also might have specific challenges as they navigate their learning in a English-dominated classroom. We're already positioning students as competent just by the way we're describing them. So being bilingual has many advantages. The bilingual brain can really, think in lots of different ways, and being bilingual is an advantage in careers, in the way we look at different cultures, the way we think about our own sense of being, our own identity. So that's one of the ways that I think we really need to begin the conversation about multilingual learners, that this is an asset, that these students are bringing assets and competencies to our classroom rather than a deficit lens, right?
Yeah, I love that. And so in thinking of multilingual learners, I know lots of teachers, they're looking for resources. So as I talk with teachers, they're like, what else do you have out there? Like, where do I get started? So what advice would you give a teacher who's looking to best support their multilingual learners? What should they think about first, or what would be some of the most important things they should consider as they're supporting their students?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the first one is believing that your multilingual students are mathematicians, that they have math ideas, and then thinking about ways in which we can support our students who may not have the academic or even the social language yet to describe their ideas. So one of the first things is the role of gesturing. That gestures and the use of representations can be powerful ways in which we lift up the ideas of our multilingual learners in mathematics. So there are different types of gestures that both teachers and students can use. The book Teaching Mathematics to Multilingual Learners has a wonderful section on the 3 different types of gestures, and being aware of those gestures both as teachers and how students use them are really important, because we can communicate. When we look at the percentage of communication, nonverbal is way much, if we were to look at a circle graph, actual verbal communication is just a little tiny sliver compared to the other types of ways that we communicate. So really lifting up nonverbal communication as a way to express ideas. And the other one is to welcome the language that students have in the classroom. That when we think about how we develop mathematical ideas, a lot of times we use common language, we use drafted ideas, and that letting students express what they're noticing, their ideas in their own language first, or even if that's the only way they can do it, is really important, because they're still processing those mathematical ideas. So I guess right now, if we were to sort of recap, one is to position students as competent, to think about the use of gestures and nonverbal communication in the classroom. And then the third one would be to really lift up the language of the students. Even if you as a teacher can't speak Spanish, or you can't speak Romanian, you can't speak Chinese, the students can. And they are still expressing their ideas. They can get up in front of a classroom and point and say, you know, yo veo 6 grupos aquí, en cada grupo hay 2 manzanas. And even if nobody understands it, the gesturing and the ability to express their ideas is just super important.
Yeah. And finally, you have an online course coming up supporting multilingual learners in math. Can you just let people know like where they can find it?
Sure. So a lot of the work I'm doing right now is supporting math coaches and supporting teachers around thinking about multilingual learners and doing a lot of learning and research and wondering, just like you are, right? We're always learning together. And so if you go to mathcoachconnection.org, that's my website along with my colleague Polly, and you can see there the course offering. And we also have a lot of free resources and a professional learning network for coaches where we've been really considering too how to think about students and the role of student reflection so that we can really learn how students are feeling about their math experiences and draw upon what we learn from that. So thanks, Mike. Always a pleasure to talk and learn with you.
I love learning with you as well. Thank you so much, Marta.
All right.